Hello, everyone, and welcome. My name is Tammy Babinchak, and I am the spiritual director of the Magdalene Center for Healing and Holistic Wellness. And this is our, what month is it? My goodness, it is April still, right? Yes, it is our April webinar. So you're a Magdalene, now what? And the intention tonight really was to gather as many souls as possible so that we can actually have a conversation. I wanted this to be, very engaging. I don't think that I don't think it provides the same type of energy when someone is talking or just, putting up slides and lecturing around a topic as close as sensitive to me and as passionate as I am about what it means to actually make that the declaration. I believe that this is something that resonates with me, right? Being using the word I am a Magdalene, or I feel called to the Magdalene path, is so sacred. And it's so, to me, it's a vocation. It's vocational. It is not the same type of, label that I think we often apply to things we think we are. This is something more profound. And most of the time, people who recognize it, they want to know what to do with it. And so perhaps it's telling that it's just me and Ken here today. I think that there is true authenticity in the willingness to want to make that claim or to be able to take the next step, to have the courage to show up and say, I feel this so strongly that I want to know more. It leads me down this path. And what I plan to discuss today is immediately already changing. And I think it's beautiful. It leads me down the path of wanting to be sure that it is very clear what the intention of the Magdalene Center really is. And who and what, we are here to do and why it matters. As a matter of fact, one of the very first questions that I was going to pose to those who gathered here today is, why are you here? Why are you here? Is it because you attended maybe the first webinar where we discussed the Magdalene archetype, and there were hopefully a number of very clear triggers or calls out of the types of what I think are fundamental aspects of the Magdalene energy? That knowing of, the knowing that you're in a place or put into a place where you don't belong, things that you're hearing, you have a deeper sense of, or a calling to want to explore more, whether it be in church, whether it be in conversation with just friends, right? Maybe who you're surrounding yourself with, you just, right? There's this, you're almost like wiggling in your seat, right? You tolerate it for a while because you have to, because you want to belong to something, to someone, right? But deep inside of you, there's this restlessness, this knowing that there's more that you haven't tapped into or that you want to explore. Maybe the restlessness is even more of a sense of knowing that you have healing to do, and that healing is only something that you want to be able to work through for yourself, that maybe you've exhausted the opportunities to work with other people outside of you, right? That call of who can save me, right? Who can help me? And see me, right? See what's happening to me. Someone help me, someone save me. And maybe you're to the point where all of that has exhausted you. So now you're saying, okay, right? It's almost like a point of surrender where you have no choice but to say, now what? Right? Now what? Here I am. And now what do I do? What does this mean? I can tell you that at least for me, that's partially my story. is after this, what I called, my moment of choosing to no longer push away. In the Gospel of Mary, it would be choosing to push through the ignorance of I no longer fit, right? And trying to fit and trying to make things make sense and having all of that rage build up inside of me and projecting it onto everyone and everything. I chose to say, I need to meet this uncomfortableness within me, right? What is this? Why am I so uncomfortable? What do I need to sit with? What do I need to actually spend time getting to learn more about? And it was only then that I feel like I actually began to walk this path in a new way, where I was opened up to people who came into my life and hats that I had to try on, that I had to wear for a while. I think many of you know I went from, okay, I'm no longer going to practice Catholicism to, okay, now I'm going to study, and try and understand Buddhism. And now I'm going to go and I want to learn more about some of the pagans, right? What did the pagans do? What part of that resonates with me? What about then you go into Wicca, to witchcraft, right? There were all these different avenues that I found myself just completely being sucked into. And I tried them. I really feel like I tried them all. I was like so into it. And it was a path of seeking, yes, but it was also an identity crisis. At its root, it was an identity crisis. I knew that I needed to find the thing that resonated with me in a way that was true. Because if you think about it, right, and maybe it is also my personality type, I like to do lots of things. I really do. And I get excited about lots of things. But I would take them, find them, get excited, and then I could walk away, right? And if you get excited about something and you can walk away, then it's not your truth. Right? If you can wake up then and say, like, I don't know if I really want to finish that book, then it's not your truth. The Magdalene path, the Magdalene truth, the Magdalene calling is all consuming. And I think this is true of most vocations, right? It's like there's an awakening in a way where you know that you've crossed a threshold that you can never return to. You can't go backwards. And whether you like it or not, where you are is where you are, and the only way forward is to take the next step. But forward is the only way. Even though you may run backwards, because you will. Trust me, I'm a woman who has run backwards. I'm still running backwards. But no matter what, I keep showing up here. I know that I'm never going to be able to, this is right, my truth. There's no way that I can walk away from anything that's going to be happening with this moving forward. It doesn't mean that the Magdalene Center for Healing and Holistic Wellness is going to be exactly what it is right now, 10 years from now. But it will be, right? It will be what it will be. Because I'm not the one, I'm just the conduit of all of this, is how it feels. I'm the vessel of this. I'm just the one who's the hands, the heart that are putting it into the world to manifest it for all of the souls who will be called to us. But I can't go back. And I think that is one of the aspects of the question that, when you're asking yourself, why am I here? And I want you to ask yourself, right? Why are you really here? Are you looking for an identity? Right? Does the Magdalene, is it a sexy identity that you just want to take on and you want to try on for a while? Because plenty, and I get that. Like, and this is what I'm here to say. There's no judgment, right? Like, I get that. I wore lots of hats. I had lots of identities because I really wanted to be something. I wanted to belong somewhere. And I was seeking for that because I wasn't doing the inner work. I was just looking to belong. I was looking for people to pull me in, to see me so that I can feel seen and that I had this place to heal and that they can help me to heal. And the truth is that partially the places where I did feel that I belonged in all of the hats I wore in my journey from awakening and from the decision to leave Catholicism did heal me to some extent. The people that I met did offer me something really beautiful that I could never, I would never want to return, right? I would never want that to not be part of my path. And so I think more than anything, the why is important because it allows you to really zero in and focus in on where you are, but most importantly, does it feel true? Does it feel true? In retrospect, each place that I went to felt true because I was just trying to figure out, right, what part of me was seeking the thing that they had that I needed. But more than anything, the Magdalene piece, threaded and weaved throughout all of it, was what I was really seeking was healing. I was seeking healing in the form of understanding true belonging. And I didn't want to just understand true belonging. I wanted to embody true belonging. I wanted to be able to be a voice, a force, an example of what true belonging is. Not just talking about it as like a mouthpiece, right? But of an actual human who is doing the work, but who is still very human. And I'll be honest, what I found in most of the other circles that I was part of, even though they healed me, they didn't complete me. There was always a piece where the leader became the leader who knew more, right? About me, about what I needed, right? About what the next right thing was. And it was all part of this very, I think, it was insidious because your heart and your soul is so, I was so raw and so tender and so naive and so green and so open to anybody who would just take me, right? Who would want to heal me, who would want me to belong with them. And some people were more great. Some of those groups were more gracious than others, right? They were a little more loving and, they got where I was, but there were plenty that were just as more than anything willing to kind of take me for what I had, chew me up and spit me out, knowing that I would be the one leaving, right? And then it would just be the next thing, right? Another marketing message, another program, right? Another level of something that I needed in order to find this place within me to belong, to become the next leader in the organization, right? That was another big one. Like you get to become, not only now are you the Magdalene, but now you get to teach people how to be the Magdalene, right? Like it's all this gigantic net of, it felt like a net of just, I was just swimming and I'm constantly entangled in the next thing that I needed. And when I really reflected on that, I realized that it's really not anything different than anything in the world, right? The systems, they do the same. They're all part of the same paradigm. The same idea that, you don't already have what you need, that what you need is something that someone else has that they can teach you so that you can be the next thing. And that made me sad. It made me sad. And I said, okay, right? I'm going to do my own inner work. I'm going to follow my heart in the process of what it means. What does it actually mean to be a Magdalene? What is that, right? What does it mean? Then what does it mean? And I have to tell you that each and every day, a little piece of the answer is revealed. And it's revealed in just being here with you right now. The answer is being a Magdalene means showing up for yourself and showing up and being vulnerable enough to say that I am seeking a community of women and men who want to walk together, to pray together, and to learn how to heal ourselves together. The healing comes through community. It comes through, I believe, us hearing each other's stories. But it's even bigger than that, because when we pray together and then we share together, that's how I believe she works. She being the Magdalene, she being the mother, right? And then the healer to me is always Jesus. It's always Yeshua, who just, it's to me visually, it's always, there's this hand on our heads and our hearts that's just wanting us to speak our truth, right? To be vulnerable, to be as human as we possibly can. Take off the masks, take off, right? Tell your story, tell your heart. How hard is it to tell your truth? It's hard. How hard is it to be vulnerable enough to tell it to a group of people who are there to just hear it and to absorb it, and then to say, me too, right? I feel that too, or I understand that too, or to just hold the space for it because they don't get it, and that's okay too. Imagine the kind of relationships that are built when that kind of vulnerability is present. When there isn't the kind of leader who knows the answer, but is willing to actually just say, I don't know, but you know. But she will reveal it to us. Let's pray together and see if it will be revealed to you. And when you know the answer, share it with us, right? When you have the miracle moment, share it with us so that we can all bask in your grace, right? When you're really, really struggling and you're just having the biggest, worst, awfulest shit week day, let's gather and let's all talk about our shitty day. But you know what will happen is that we gather at the end of that shitty day and we say, Mother, have mercy on us. Look at us, your poor children, right? We're gathered here behind the veil and we call to you. We need your mercy. Show us the way. What miracles can be revealed? What witness could we be to that path, right? Imagine if we become the witnesses of the path by just doing the doing, by being human. Being a Magdalene means being human, fully and completely, fearlessly, and vulnerably, authentically. It is not a label. It is not a red cloak we walk around wearing, holding candles and praying. I mean, we can do that because that sometimes feels really good. And I'm speaking to you as a woman who loves ritual. I love it. I love to create it. I love to be part of it. I love when other people hold ritual and I get to be part of it. I love all of it. I want it. But I truly believe, my friends, at the depth of my being, that the answer that we all are looking for, the thing that we all need right now, is each other. Is a big, long table of people gathered who come in and out as they need and who are willing to share their heart, to share their story, to be vulnerable enough to ask for the healing, for us to pray together regularly and willingly, and to understand the walk of the Magdalene, what's laid out for us in her gospel, what's laid out for us in the gospel of Philip, the search to understand Yeshua in a new way, because she did, right? The Magdalene understood him in a completely different way than anyone else did. It's documented over and over and over and over. There are very few things that we can say we know about her, but one of the things that is always, I believe, is very well documented and can be easily implied is that she was the closest to him and she understood him in a different way. So if she did, then what we are capable of doing is asking her to show us. And it won't be because we get downloads. It might be, but it'll be downloads that come through us in our lives. It's by living our lives, by being humans, that we become aware. Our awareness of the Christ consciousness within us and around us that lives through us is made known. It's revealed to us through us. Not because we're all prophets, but because we are all prophets. Right? Right? We're both all the time. We're humans who are opening our hearts up to become prophets just by living our lives. And we can declare that because we are witnesses to each other's miracles. We are witnesses to each other's walk. We are witnesses to the moments when we are at our worst and at our best. And going from one to the other involves not only our willingness to say, this is where I am, but our willingness to say, I need the mercy and I need the grace, and I can't do this alone. I can't do it alone as a human, i.e., I need you, and I need spirit, I need grace, and I need a container to help me hold it all, because I don't know how to do it any other way. It would be so easy to create a presentation that AI could have made for us about the archetypes of the Magdalene and about things we can do, right, to sharpen our intuition and to, right, learn how to connect to divinity. And you know what? Again, all of those things matter, but that is not what this is about. Are you a Magdalene? Now what? Now what means, are you ready? Are you willing to not just become a Magdalene, as in declare that, but to actually begin to live your life like one? To pray the way she would have. In some of the quietest moments, I think I've shared this before, but I think it's worth repeating. I asked myself one time is why does she feel, sometimes it feels that she's further away, that I'm more connected to Jesus, or I call out to Yeshua, right? More than I feel her. And I asked her that, and I said, you know, it almost feels like I feel shame, or I feel a sense of it feels disingenuous to have a Magdalene center when I don't feel her. I feel more connected to Jesus, and I want to talk about him, and I want to talk about the messages, and I want to talk about what I hear when I hear the words, or when I learn of translations from Aramaic, or when I learn about translations from, you know, words that didn't fit, that aren't in the right, you know, that there's new information that I get, and I hear it and I recognize it in my body, and I want to share it, right? I want to say it out loud, but this, I feel this, you know. And I asked her, I said, you know, but like, where are you? And her response, what I felt in my body was, I'm you. Not that I'm the Magdalene, but she's saying, your desire, the desire to understand Jesus is all that I was, right? The desire to understand what he was teaching is all I ever, that's what she wanted. She didn't, I don't believe that her calling, we don't know, right? There's so much conjecture. We've elevated her into something amazing. Maybe she was all of those other things, you know. Maybe she was a priestess in her own right. Maybe she was. I mean, I don't know, because we don't know. But what I do know is that she loved Yeshua, and her only reason for breathing was to understand what he had to say. And so to me, that's what it is to be a Magdalene. To understand the Christ consciousness, to be able to understand, to wiggle through the nuances of his words, to take them in and to feel within our bodies what it means to us, and then to live them, to take action on them, to actually live them fully and completely. That is what it is to me. That is what the Magdalene Center is about. The first part of the Gospel of Mary, the first, you know, there's pages missing and the whole thing. So the first 6 pages are missing. I think it starts on, you know, we begin with the teachings of Yeshua. Who knows what happened in those first few pages? We will never know. Hopefully we will, but right now we don't. what's shared there before we dive into the soul's journey, the soul's ascent, which we just did through Lent. There are things that as a Catholic, I never heard before. And I remember just being so dumbfounded. And not only was I dumbfounded, but I just remember feeling, not only have I never heard these things before, but they're so radical that I needed to know more. Right? I needed to know more. I need to understand where this came from. Where is this writing from? Where are these words from? Right? Why are they so different from anything that I've ever heard? And that's the beginning. It's like this never-ending rabbit hole, of information that all of a sudden just keeps getting served up and put in front of you for you to work with. I think that is the path, my friends. Healing, community. That healing and community comes from vulnerability, living our lives, gathering regularly as we live our lives, and spending time working through these early Christian documents like the Gospel of Mary, in understanding what we feel from the words we hear within our bodies, and using the Magdalene that lives within every single one of us. If we can say that, if we feel that, right? To interpret that for us, to ask for her to show us what it is, and to live with the trust and the knowing that she will reveal it to us, and then to call upon the mercy and the grace of her beloved, all overseen by our mother, to guide us along our humanity. That's all. That's all. To be human. To be human. And to be led and guided by your heart, the eye of the heart that you learn to open, that you learn to cultivate just by being here, by joining. Right? We just went through Lent. We went through the whole path, the second part of the gospel for Lent, where we dive into some of the shadow, the levels of the soul. This pulls in some of the Jungian psychodynamic work that is fascinating. Carl Jung had an incredible connection to Gnosticism for a good reason. For a very good reason. He wrote a book on Gnosticism. I mean, so just that rabbit hole itself is years of work. What if we did that and we do it together? What will happen to our lives? What will happen to the community? What will happen to the people around us? There's only one way to find out, is that we do it. I believe that this work and this center is blessed in those things. And that it's just that simple. And so I'll come back to the question, why are you here? Are you a Magdalene because you like the label? Because it does feel all fancy and like the word to me is sexy, right? It's like, oh, I'm a Magdalene. That feels so sexy and feels so, is it truly a way for you to label yourself as something? I don't know. It's okay if it is, but the call is deeper. It's more. It's more than that. I also want to reiterate that this is a safe space. You are never going to get, certainly not from me. I can only share with you the things that I know of what I've experienced for me. What that means for you is for you to decide. More than ever, I want to hear what you're experiencing when we pray together. I want to hear what you're experiencing when I talk about the Gospel of Mary. I want to hear what's happening in your life as you decide to walk this path and maybe dive into what it means to understand the levels of the soul. What does it mean to dive into some of the other teachings and sayings in Yeshua? What are they stirring up for you? Because whatever stirs up for you is likely stirring up for me. Maybe what you have is what I need. Maybe what I have is what you need. And I think that's how it always goes. Can we gather in a way that you take what's for you and you leave what isn't? And can we together identify what can be so transformative that what she asks of us in doing this work is revealed, and then we just do it. Then we go and we do it. I dream of brainstorms, these moments where we're in the midst of an incredible miracle, or an incredible healing, or a moment of awareness, or something incredible that we're all aware, we're celebrating, and we say, that someone says, we have to document this. We have to talk about this, right? What do we do with this? Yeah, right? That's the next thing. But it comes from within us, within the community and within us. Because you're never going to get from me that I know the way. I only know that I love to pray, that I love to try really hard to stay connected to my divinity in the midst of the world that I live in. That I pray every day for mercy, that I pray every day for grace to be a lighthouse, to be a force that calls people to her, to the Magdalene, to the feminine, to the mother, to Mother Mary, to her son. The rest is up to her. What we'll do, what will become of the work will become of the work. It's out of my hands. It's out of all of our hands. But what if we were brave enough to find out? And so I'm looking for, and I'm asking for, and I'm calling out to the brave souls who want to find out, who want to be vulnerable, who want to show up as themselves, who want to be as humanly possible, who want to practice connecting to divinity, who want to learn what it means to pray, to say, I don't know how to pray, to say, I don't know how to pray the rosary, to say, why the rosary, to say, what about this? Charmaine will tell you that I literally sit on the phone with her sometimes, and I'll have 102,000 ideas of what we should do. And I write them all down, and I have all these things, and I get all whatever. And I think that they're all wonderful, but I can't do them alone, and I don't want to do them alone. And I want other people to join me in thinking about what it would mean for each of them. Especially now. I mean, I just have to say the last thing, especially now, the world right now is terrifying to me. I'm just going to say that flat out. I wake up every day, and if I didn't pray the way that I pray, where I ask for, and it's because it's the only thing that I know to do. It's what gets me literally through the day. I feel so afraid. But yet I find this incredible peace, and it amazes me. It awes me that I can feel so disheveled and so afraid in one moment, and then the next feel so calm and at peace. and not afraid. Not only not afraid, but brave and willing. Learning to be the bridge of what it means to be human while staying connected to divinity is a hard task. It feels like an impossible path, but it's not. The key for me has been regularly on the hour most days, admitting that I can't do it. I can't do it alone, and that I don't know how. And with each moment of surrender and each moment of release of wanting to know, release of wanting to have the answer, release of wanting to put into motion all of these things that my heart sees and believes can be, and just allowing myself to be in that very moment, feeling what I'm feeling, is the only way that I have found peace. It washes over me like a wave, and it sets me back on the shore, pats me on the behind and says, off you go. And off I go. What is your why? What do you need? What does the label of being a Magdalene trying to hide you from? What are you running away from by declaring yourself a Magdalene? What does your spirit need? At your core, your heart of hearts, the truth you would tell that we're just you and the Holy Spirit who knows the truth anyway. What would you say? What do you really need? If you are interested in learning more about the community that we are building, that's different than anything I don't know, maybe different than anything you've experienced. I want it to be different than anything I've experienced. There'll be an opportunity coming up in the fall where we will gather and we'll begin with the Gospel of Mary. I've thought long and hard about, and believe me, I've changed the structure of this 300 times. Charmaine will also tell you that. That's how it feels. I think all that matters is that we'll begin. We're just going to begin. We'll begin there. And this is not a program like, oh, there's the Gospel of Mary and we're on the way of the Magdalene. To me, the way of the Magdalene is a lifelong search for embodiment. It's lifelong work. There's no destination. You don't complete the program, at the end of the X number of months and you have a new lease on life. Because that result is on you. What I will say, the way of the Magdalene, I believe the answer and what is offered and what can be created from the work together is a true understanding of your own truth, of hearing the words of Jesus or Yeshua through a different lens, spoken from a different frequency, a different vibration, and then deciding what they mean for you. Deciding how you will take action to applying them to your lives and what your own life and what that means for you. And then sharing that, right? sharing that so that we can understand the impact that it's had, so we can be witness to the work of Spirit through us. There will be a focus on these early Christian works and a focus on the feminine. There's the Gospel of Mary, there's the Gospel of Philip, there's the Gospel of Thomas. There's the Aramaic Jesus, right? All of Neil Douglas Klotz's work has blown my mind. It's blown a hole open in my heart. The tears and the knowing, the things that I've been able to cultivate from within myself just by reading and thinking and praying and contemplating those words heard that way has in itself been transformative for me. This was the, I think, original intention of the Magdalene Center membership. This is, you know, these are human words that allow us to create structure, a human construct around something, right? To give it something because we have to do something. But it's really a path to self-discovery. It's a path to healing. It's a path to connection, to bridging humanity to our divinity. And it's a path to being awed by the power of Spirit and how it works through our lives when we are open to it. Awareness of the parts of us that make us human and to not judge them, but to learn to love them, to recognize them, to realize that they're rooted in something else, to find that root, to understand it, and then to integrate it. To integrate it in a way that you're living with it now. You're not pushing it away, you're just living with it. It becomes part of you. Part of you recognize, part of you that you can love into, part of you that you can say, I see you, I hear you. Okay, shh, it's okay. It's learning to talk to yourself with a voice of love. It's learning worth by remembering how loved you are, by remembering that this vessel contains the soul sanctified by the Spirit of God within us, that is worth everything. The remembering that this vessel passes, it ages, it suffers. The randomness of the world can create incredible and immense suffering. But a knowing and a connection of this vessel to Spirit allows for a flattening of all of the chaos. It's like muscle memory. It's like the ability to be able to take a moment where the needle goes off the record and you find the music again. Despite how many things are trying to knock that needle off of the record. It must be practiced. It is not intended to be done alone. And there's power in remembering together, because the vibration, the frequency can be raised together. It's like, right there, what is the saying? The rising tide rises all boats. Isn't that this, right? The tide raises all boats. It's the same idea, right? We are multidimensional beings who are capable of moving each other from a place, from a frequency to another. We're also human, and our humanity needs to be celebrated, right? With a good meal and a good bottle of wine and belly laughs, right? Those things are just as healing as the spiritual healing work that we do in prayer. We need both. We need both. Community, our own individual work. and be ready to be awed by what will move through us. All of that comes from just deciding we want to learn more, keep searching for the things that resonate with the Spirit within us. You know, it dawned on me, the more books that I read, the more that I become engaged with all of this, with all of this meaning, you know, the Bible and early Christian works. And it's like this never-ending story. It's these never-ending, you know, twists and turns and finding out new information of things that I didn't know before, right? Things are constantly being discovered in my world. What joy there is in that. No, it's like, it's just fascinating. But I'll tell you, when I get really, really bored is when I think I know. You know, because we stop leaning into the mystery. Things are open because we want them to, they're open-ended for a good reason, to keep us engaged and to keep us enamored with Spirit. And so if any of this is resonating, if any of this, if you want to know more, if you're interested in just looking for community, if you know, and again, I really encourage you to ask yourself those questions. What is your why? What are you really looking for? And I'd love to hear your answers. I really mean that. You know, come to a gathering. You're going to see some new gatherings coming up. I'd like to really gather weekly if we can, so that people have an option and have the opportunity to gather as frequently as they can, or only once a month, but at least you have options, right? And they're consistent. Tell us your why, right? What do you need? What does your spirit need? What are you looking for? And if you can really be truthful with yourself, you'll decide whether or not this is where you belong. And if you don't, I wish you well, and wherever your journey takes you. And I mean that wholeheartedly. But if it is to explore what it means to be part of this community and what that will mean for us, then I hope that you'll consider joining our wait list. And in the fall, when we really dive in, that we begin our journey together. And I have no idea what it's going to mean for you and what it's going to mean for me, but it's going to be something incredible. And I look forward to hopefully hearing from all of you, from seeing you, and I would welcome your feedback at any time. So do not hesitate to send me an email, respond to this email if you're watching the recording, anything. I would just love to hear what you have to say. And I look forward to all of it. So thank you for being here with me. Thank you for this 1 hour, just hearing what I have to say of what I think it means to be here, the community I'm hoping to build, and I'm wide open to hearing more about what you think. But I can't do that if I don't know you and I don't hear from you. It doesn't help me. So with that, thank you, my friends. I wish you a great rest of your week, and much love. Many, 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 many Magdalene blessings.